So what is going on, you guys? Welcome to my spoiler talk video for the brand new horror film called Obsession. Now, I don't do a lot of videos like this, but every once in a while, I love a movie so much, I want to talk about it some more. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the movie itself. I'm going to give some spoilers of what actually happens. I'm going to talk about what I really enjoyed, some descriptions about Curry Barker, and I'm going to talk about some of the talk online about this movie that I have been hearing a lot about, and I'm glad everybody else is loving the movie as well, but I did not have the same experience as them. So this is your final warning. If you somehow stumbled into this neighborhood and you do not want to see spoilers for this movie, and I recommend you don't, I recommend you go and check out the movie first, you're in the wrong neighborhood, bub. Click off now. So that is your final warning. We are going to talk spoilers in this video. Share your thoughts down below on what you thought about the movie, and I have done a spoiler-free review of this movie already, so I'm going to put a link to it up here in the comment section down below. If you found yourself here by accident, you can check out my spoiler-free thoughts first. So yeah, this movie is directed once again by Curry Barker, and if you guys did not know, he is pretty famous for sketch comedy online, and he has this very weird, awkward, cringe, I think you should leave style cringe comedy. And that is apparent in this movie. This movie is as awkward as it is scary, and I think that is a perfect blend given the type of director this guy is. Now, because I love this movie so much, I fell into a wormhole last night in a bunch of interviews I stumbled upon, and one in particular I want to talk about now I thought was fascinating. So whenever I watch a movie by a director I really enjoy, I love to hear the inside thoughts of their mind and what inspired the scare and what inspired this movie. And I stumbled upon an interview with Curry Barker where he talks about how comedy is very similar to scaring people. And I think that's such an interesting takeaway because I think I've heard Jordan Peele say that as well, and everybody loves that guy as a director. So as he's explaining it, I'm like, that makes sense. He says that scaring people is very similar to comedy because when you tell a joke, it's only funny if you can misdirect their attention and keep them off guard. That's what makes it funny. And you wouldn't laugh at something if you knew the punchline, so it is the art of sleight of hand. It's misdirection. I think that's such a creative way to look at this movie, and he talks about how modern horror films specifically, as an audience member, he goes to a lot of them as well. He feels like jump scares are kind of expected now. They're kind of solved. Like, we see all of these horror films. We know a jump scare is coming. Feels fake, feels unearned. A lot of the time, a ball will fall from a cabinet or something, and you'll jump. It's just your natural response, but it's not scary. It's not effective horror. And he says that because of that, he's branding something he used in this movie a lot of the time called a modern jump scare. And I love the way he described this because in my spoiler-free review, I talked about this movie making me feel so weird. He says that what he thinks a modern jump scare is similar to comedy, 3 or 4 moments in a movie that really keep you on the edge of your seat. You either think something's going to happen, it doesn't. You don't think it's going to happen, it does. And because of that, you're exposed to something and you think about it like, oh, I don't like that. That's weird. And that's what I meant in my other video if I didn't articulate that as well. That's what I mean when I say this is unlike any horror movie I've ever seen. The way this movie manages to do that, where it puts you in a situation where you feel like you are confined to your chair, but you want to get out of this movie. It's so uncomfortable, is the most effective jump scare horror I have seen in years. That's why I think this guy has such a bright future as a director, because that type of scare is timeless. Everybody gets awkward and everybody wants to escape being uncomfortable. It really is a genius way to craft a horror film. So again, that's just what I was trying to articulate in my other video when I said that this movie made me feel way weirder than any other movie I've ever seen. I had like full body chills. I was so unsettled. Those are some of the most effective scenes I have seen of this decade. So again, the guy's just a genius. I recommend you find that interview. And another reason I wanted to make this video again is the rhetoric online of what people are saying about this movie and what it means and how they interpreted this. And I've been seeing this opinion a lot. And it's weird because maybe you guys had this. I didn't approach this movie like this at all. I had a completely different experience with this. A lot of people are talking about this movie like Bear is the inherently bad guy in this movie. And I just don't agree with that. Quick summary to keep you up to date again. Bear is the guy who falls for his coworker named Nikki, and he eventually wishes for her to love him more than anything else in the world. He's this shy guy. He lacks confidence. He has feelings for her, possibly loves her. And I related his character to every guy ever. And if you're denying this, you're lying. Everybody knows you're lying. Every guy I've ever met has had the experience of Bear in some way or another, not this extreme, obviously. Where as you're a young kid, especially a young man, and I'm sure girls have this experience as well, but again, I'm just speaking on behalf of being a guy. Every young guy goes through a period during adolescence where they believe they're like this knight in shining armor. They lust or love this girl they don't even know. They have this big crush on somebody they work with, they go to school with. They know nothing about them half the time. They have played the events in their mind their entire life together. They're going to get married. married, they're going to have kids. They know everything about this person, at least the vision they have of that person in their head. That's the way some silly men's brains works, especially when we're young. And I felt like that's what this movie was doing when it came to Bear's character. At the beginning of the movie, at least, I did not find him ill-intended at all. I thought this guy was a likable guy, lacking courage. He was shy. On a whim, he plays the game, breaks the stick, wishes for Nikki, then he's in Schitt's Creek, and that's what this movie's about. But I've been seeing a lot of people online talk about this movie like Bear is inherently evil. He's controlling. He was vindictive. I didn't experience that whatsoever in this movie. I thought this movie was a lot more natural. It just gets weird because it's a horror film. He falls into this weird circumstance where he has this fixated girl on him because of this wish. In the back half of this movie, he becomes somebody like a lot of toxic relationships. He no longer was. He's also kind of manipulative and weird in the way he views their relationship. Feels a little bit entitled to it at a certain point. Like he has something now, he's not going to let it go. He kind of likes the fact that somebody's drooling over him. And at that point, yeah, Bear's a bad guy, but I don't think for the majority of this film getting to that point, it's evil intent. I think he's just a weird, awkward guy like a lot of young dudes. The way we viewed romance and dating when we were young is a lot different during this technology era, let me tell you. But yeah, I think this movie was exploring toxic relationships. It was exploring abusive relationships, manipulative partners, and the perspective of both parties and their faults at play for how these things are allowed to linger. And it doesn't even have to be a person. You could apply this to anything, idealizing celebrities, items, money, anything we do in society where we just crave something without really knowing if it's good for us. We just have that perfect idea in our head. So it's exploring Nikki's perspective in this movie. The possessed or the person with a wish on them, they really have no say in this. They're walking all over Bear, controlling, manipulative, all of the subtle mannerisms. My God, if you have ever dated somebody that toxic, it is terrifying. But you get that perspective, and then you get Bear, who I described in my spoiler-free review. You have two sides to this every time. You kind of have the abuser, and sometimes it's mutual, but you also kind of have the person who gets walked all over. And a lot of the time that is because that person, not the victim blame or anything, that person almost doesn't feel warranted to have that love. They've put this person, Nikki, on such a pedestal, such a goddess level, they'll never be worthy of their love. So they'll put up with anything to maintain that vision they have of that person in their mind. When in actuality, that person is not good for them. We can all see that. They're not compatible. But because you have built them up so much in your head, you're not really dating the person anymore, you're dating the idea. And I think that's what this movie was trying to tackle. Maybe I could be wrong again. Please share your thoughts and comments down below. Let me know. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with these people? I think this movie was pretty straightforward. It was just a very, very effective horror film version of it. And on top of that, it's also taking a look at ignoring the things that are right in front of us. Numerous times in this film, it mentions that Sarah has a crush on Bear. Sarah's very attractive as well. They seemingly get along a lot better than Nikki and Bear do in all of the scenes. It's Sarah and Bear, not Nikki and Bear. And I feel like it's kind of poking fun at the fact that a lot of the time, we are craving and chasing something way off in the distance that we have sensationalized and idealized while overlooking the thing that is right in front of us that is so much better for us or just makes so much more sense, whether it works out or not. And I know, again, there are some character flaws going on with both of these characters as the movie goes along, but just as an overarching theme and umbrella, I think that's what the point of the movie was. So once again, let me know down below. But aside from that, this movie was just crazy effective. I mean, I have not felt this unsettled in years. Again, that's why I said this might be my favorite movie of the decade. I love this movie so much, man. It makes you feel so weird because you have an emotional attachment to the experience these characters have, kind of going through that in a weird way in your adolescence, or knowing people or dating people like that, or knowing of relationships like that. So all of the horror of it just feels so relatably cringe. You just do not want to be subjected to the actions these people are doing. Some of the specifics I thought were insanely good in this movie that go back to his interview, those big major moments that are supposed to really put you on the edge of your seat where you're like, I do not like that. I think this movie peaks with two different scenes. I think the bedtime scene when they are going to bed in this movie and they're talking about getting to sleep and then he wakes up in the middle of the night and she is just watching him, the scariest scene of the year by a mile. That is one of my biggest fears. In fact, I actually wrote a little short film that was pretty long. It was like 10 or 15 pages, and that was the central theme of that movie. It was the idea of somebody just watching you without you knowing, especially when you sleep. It reminds me of that scene in Hereditary that everybody loves as like the greatest scene of the decade. And I think my experience with this bedroom scene is basically what everybody thinks of that Hereditary scene. So I get what you guys are saying now. If that's what you thought of the Hereditary scene, I see where you're coming from. Because this scene shook me. I mean, Last night was a weird sleep. I swear to God, I was trying to sleep with my eyes open. I was like, don't be in the corner. Don't be in the corner. But yeah, just a fantastic scene. One of the best manufactured scares of the year. Unsettling, the dialogue, the use of camera work, and even sound off camera. The implication of things in this movie is really why it's so scary. The second thing I really enjoyed in this movie is the scene where he freezes up, he's looking at you, and he's like, oh, I have to go to work. And she's like, don't leave me, please stay with me. And his jaw just drops. And you're like, why is this guy so scared? I mean, she's weird, but she's been weird. Let's just see a door duct taped. And that is the most holy shit. Get me out of this house, please. I think those were the two best moments of the movie. But once again, I said in my other video, I don't think there's a bad frame in this movie. I enjoyed every minute of this movie. Off camera as well, the implication of things in this movie and the sound design of this movie, both the score and the actual sound effects, crazy effective for a horror film. There's a scene in this film when a character's in the shower getting out, and because of the conversation they have, the stress they have, the camera work and what it's looking at, you expect something is going on in the bathroom, but you don't really know. And you just hear a shower knob turn, and the way it's loud and the way it's abrupt and the implication of what that sound means is one of the scariest scenes of the year. I can't believe I'm saying that. The turning of a shower knob. Why I love horror. I really do think horror at its core is the most technical genre ever. If you can't craft suspense, you can't craft lighting, you don't have cinematography down, you won't scare or misdirect anybody. But if you understand the genre as well as this guy does, you understand sound design, you understand leading people's eyes to different corners, you have your way with the audience. And I think this movie really proves that this guy gets it because of his misdirection history of comedy, how to make you think one thing is going to happen or how to make your brain fill in the gaps. I also like the way that this movie is so on the nose when it's approaching some of the actual actions characters are doing. Like, for example, everybody has heard the saying that some people have crazy eyes or they have serial killer eyes. There's a scene in this movie when Nikki shows up at this guy's house in the middle of the night, and the way this movie is lit is so smart. The only thing you can see about this character are her actual eyes based on the light. It's really highlighting the crazy eyes effect. You're just seeing her eyes jolt around in this crazy mannerism because the light's reflecting off of them. Crazy effective scene. It implies all you need to know about this character in this situation. Something is severely fucked up. Just another example of a fantastic scene and a very creative use of societal standards when it comes to this subject matter. Hold up, I'm getting a text from Nikki. I texted the number that I put for the marketing and she's been sending me crazy voice memos all day. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but once again, like I said, I can fix her. And then when you get to the ending of this movie, I appreciated how bleak this movie actually is. And I know a lot of people, maybe they think this movie has a different interpretation than I did, but if you saw it, my interpretation was the darkest one possible. And I really enjoy that because I have said way too many times, and I said this in a video about the Speak No Evil remake, I think modern horror kind of holds hands. I think a lot of directors are very afraid to leave the audience on a somber or sour note. I like whenever a horror movie, if it's done effectively, like this movie, puts you in an uncomfortable headspace where you finish watching something, you have to really come to grips with the terms of what you just watched and what that actually means. So again, for me, this is as close to a perfect horror movie as I have seen in years. I think fans, they're going to get hyped up for this. They've been hearing the rhetoric from other people and me, and they're going to go there expecting the world, and I really hope they have the same experience I did, because this was one of the very few times, as a horror movie fan, I set my expectations sky high. I compare horror movies to junkies. We sift through trash all day for that next big dopamine hit, and this one delivered. This was the mega load. This was the fix I crave every single year. So I love this movie Obsession. If you have not seen this movie already, I have no idea why you watched a spoiler review, but if you did watch this video, I'm assuming you already saw the movie. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts on anything I had to say, what your favorite part was. Did you love this movie as well? Do you think Cory Barker's an amazing director? Like, what do you want me to know about this movie? Comment down below, I read all the comments. As always, if you like this video, my name is Sean. Like, comment, subscribe, hype the video, join the channel down below. And if you like this video as well, feel free to support the channel, become a channel member. It helps me continue making videos. But hey, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.